Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at the 221st consecutive Cosm Full Moon Ceremony. If you're just joining us for the first time, Cosm stands for Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, a radically welcoming, interfaith art church where we celebrate creativity as a spiritual path. So 221 is a very special number. It adds up to 5, which is the sacred number of the pentagram, which is a symbol of humanity, really, the 2 arms, the 2 legs, and the head. So tonight is a night of humanity, and we're coming toward the completion of our 17th year of consecutive full moon ceremonies that we started in our home, in our loft in Brooklyn, January 2003.
Wow.
And why were we celebrating the full moon, and we still celebrate the full moon? Tell us.
Well, the full moon is a perfect circle of soft light against the infinite cosmic backdrop of the night. Somehow, we feel a kinship of our souls with this massive orb, and intuitively we sense the full moon as the high tide of the spirit, and we gaze at it. We pull ourselves out of our everyday thoughts and return to wonder. Because of the influence of the lunar cycle on our reproductive systems and the agricultural seasons, for thousands of years, community has gathered to honor and celebrate each cycle. Full moon provides the greatest luminosity on Earth at night. And so you can imagine earlier tribes of people meeting on the full moon for practical and navigational purposes. We recognize that this round glowing moon is actually a reflecting surface, mirroring the greater light of the sun, just as each of us is a sacred mirror reflecting the greater light of God. Well, somewhere on the full moon tonight, maybe even in Brooklyn, a moon cactus is blossoming for its one night only annual bloom, attracting moths and other evening pollinators. These moonflowers are said to have the sweetest fragrance. Curiously, the San Pedro cactus, one of the most ancient psychedelic cactus plants, it contains mescaline, and it blooms also on the full moon. There's other buds that bloom on the full moon besides the cacti, such as the white beech moonflower. These large, all-white, round blossoms grow on a vine, and they open at night under the gentle light of the full moon. The moonflower is said to also have a divine fragrance. They start to open up around 8 p.m. and are closing up by the morning. The moonflower vines are in the same family as the morning glory species. Curiously, the seeds of these plants contain another of the ancient ceremonial psychedelics called ergine, or LSA, chemically related to LSD, but much less potent. This may be why you see the moonflower often planted alongside the day-blooming morning glories in the fine witch's garden. There may be symbiotic, evolutionary connection of psychedelic plants and full moon gatherings. Well, during a positive psychedelic experience, a person opens up to their connection with the great spirit of creation. The tripping mind flowers with mystic symbols flowing through our divine imagination and drawing us into relationship with the restorative light of our souls. The brilliance of the Infinite One shining through every eye and all appearances of the world. In the psychedelic mystical experience, we align our minds with the unified network of consciousness and love that seems to be our fundamental source and has been described by mystics from every sacred tradition. each through their own cultural lens. Psychedelics allow the mystical experience itself to become a viable realm for exploration and a legitimate subject for visionary art. Psychedelic science has proven that the mystical experience is a repeatable and deeply healing imaginal journey with potentially life-changing benefits. Much of the spiritual wisdom conferred by the hallucinogenic state is visual. And currently, it's impossible to point the camera on our inner mental flow. So it's been the visionary artists of all the various traditions that have attempted to translate these life-changing experiences into communicable icons. From the ancient cave art to temple art and the art of today. The various arts, from the performance of ritual dance movements to the visual, musical, literature, architecture, all of these embody evolving waves of worldviews of civilizations, giving humanity a touchstone to our ancient ancestors. Visionary art is an opening to the divine imagination, providing a lens for reframing reality so that the viewer recovers their own source of wholeness and creativity, healing their fragmented soul in the embrace of a unifying spiritual reality. At COSM, we call ourselves an art church. We believe that creative expression can be a spiritual practice, and we like to examine the analogies of art and religion for their symbolic richness. For instance, the declaration that God is the divine artist and the cosmos is the evolving masterwork of creation. It's part of what you could call art theology. Art theology means the transmission of spiritual wisdom through contact with creative expression. The source of creation communicates directly to our imagination through evolving symbol pictures in our dreams, the deep meditations that we have, or the psychedelic mystical theophanies. Artists throughout the ages have labored to translate these revelations through all types of cultural artifacts and have played a role in communicating the divine presence through the world's temples and religious epics. Now, even if the religions have fundamental disagreements, they all use the creative arts to express their beliefs through language, form, music, and worship. Theology, the body of knowledge related to the study of God or ultimate spiritual reality, has influenced the sacred art of every tradition. This dynamic connection of creativity with the visionary imagination and belief systems, art and theology, links worldviews and symbols that open our lives to deeper meaning. As humanity transitions toward a more planetary civilization, creativity is playing a pivotal role as a fundamentally unifying spirituality. With art as your religion, you connect with all world religions and appreciate each of them as beautiful cultural waves of the ever-evolving creative spirit. Stepping beyond the taboo-ridden, magical, and mythic beliefs of religious customs that obstruct mental clarity and mask systems of manipulation and control, may we appreciate the mystic realm and core goodness represented in religion as we embrace the facts and solutions of science and act in creative spiritual service to the collective. A common language unites a people. Visionary art is the language of COSM's community because it affirms the divine imagination and mystical experience. For pilgrims to the sacred inner dimensions, visionary art provides a validation for their own glimpses, and it points to the universal nature of the imaginal realms. Thank you to everyone tuning in, and to you who've been helping COSM build Entheon, Sanctuary of Visionary Art. It's exciting. Entheon's interior is nearing completion, and the sacred mirrors are now unwrapped and back on view in a spectacular setting. After we receive the certificate of occupancy from our town of Wappinger, we look forward to assembling works from the visionary art movement, the worldwide movement, to share in the all-one gallery on the first floor of Entheon. We're all looking forward to opening Entheon to visitors sometime in 2021. Well, at this time of deep concern for the future of our species and all species, the positive spiritual messages encountered in the work of visionary artists, it helps to turn our suffering minds toward the beauty and miracle of life. Creativity born directly from the soul with the intention to uplift, that's a sacred mirror. It reminds beholders that each of us is holy and the world is a precious and sacred place. Well, blessings to everyone. May you all be safe, healthy, and creative.
Thank you, Alex. That was so beautiful. I'm so touched that, 2021, it seems so perfect, since there are 21 sacred mirrors, 3, the sacred number 3 times the sacred number 7, 21. Only we didn't know. The spirits knew that. Should open in 2021. Well, so glad to have with us Tyler James Berger to let us know some of the performances that are going to happen tonight.
Thank you, Allison and Alex, for a beautiful opening to the ceremony. We have a great lineup of virtual offerings tonight. First up, we have Akil Apollo Davis with a performative video titled, I Came to Give.
Hello, everyone. My name is Akil Apollo Davis. I am a theater professor and a performing artist. Why am I doing this? Because as strange as it may sound, I care what happens to you. I know what it is like to suffer. And if I can help ease suffering in someone else, then I'll do it through dance, theater, music, education, and art. Expect poison from still water. William Blake. This means you must move, you must grow, you must change, do not hold. Depression is the soul's inability to manifest its will. This means you must be true to and put forward who you are. Nervousness is the veil to power. If you're nervous about something, that is because there's value in it. So instead of focusing on the fear, seize the power. Compassion is giving someone space to empty their heart. Thich Nhat Hanh. So instead of always trying to fix it, sometimes just listen. If the Buddha is already enlightened, why is he or she always meditating? That is because enlightenment is just like everything else in the universe. Temporary. I've seen a lot of pain, a lot of death, insane. Living in a battle, I was burning in the flames. Dreams are choking, broken, just coping, hopeless with no escape. But learning love and art is where that spark had begun. Now I'm running cause under my stomach are jumping 100, rumbling, thundering suns. I offer my light, all of my wisdom, gather from all of my life. Remember, no matter the moment, just know that you're perfect and right on time. Your heart has been broken, you haven't been heard or have not spoken. I beg you to sing, you are your ancestors' magnum opus. To all of my students, all of my souls, to all of my humans, let's turn our confusion into Confucius. Yeah, we'll all get through this, even in darkest nights. Persist and keep the sight. This is such precious life, we must make more light. Why do people go to the priests? of our culture. The spiritual people, they go for healing. They go for learning. They go for communion with a spirit. And isn't that the same reason why people go to see artists? See, as an archetype in our culture, artists are the priests. We came to give. I came to give.
Thank you, Akil, for that beautiful video. A fun fact that I learned about Akil when I met him at the assemblage in New York City a few years back is that his mother was the president of the American Psychological Association. So he was raised by a psychologist. And you really see that in that video. He carries this baton of insightfulness into the human condition that was expressed so well in that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really deep, archetypal, and he made so many philosophical points there. I felt it was pure art theology,
It's brilliant abilities brought together in an integral way with the dance and the rap and the music and the tai chi and the wisdom and the performative ability and his incredible bodybuilding, and it was such a beautiful combination of genius.
A truly multifaceted performance.
Yeah.
Yes. Next up, we have permaculture educator Delvin Solkinson to share with us a drop about cosmolocation.
Wendell Berry wrote, "What I stand for is what I stand on. The Cosm community is a stand for Earth and all its creatures, with awe and reverence for the beauty, mystery, and wonder of the world. From our grounded place on the planet, we can see light from stars trillions of miles away. I love what Buckminster Fuller said, we are all astronauts on a little spaceship called Earth. Permaculture encourages people to actively observe the patterns of growth and change on our planet. Biodynamics includes the influence of the sun, moon, planets, stars, and galaxies. The full moon is a time when the cosmic influence can be experienced directly in the tides, as well as the rhythms of our bodies and emotions. Tonight, under the light of the full moon, I will guide a short visualization, a cosmolocation, using rough and rounded numbers to make general observations about the size, speed, and scale of space-time. We begin on our home planet Earth. It is 4.54 billion years old and 7,917 miles wide at the equator. The Earth spins at about 1,000 miles per hour on its axis, doing one rotation every 24 hours. At the same time as it spins, the Earth orbits the Sun, moving over 67,000 miles per hour, doing one full orbit every 365 days. Our local solar system is 4.6 billion years old and 1 light year across, about 5.88 trillion miles. It spins through the Milky Way galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, doing one full orbit every cosmic year of about 225 million years. Our spiral galaxy, the Milky Way, is over 12 billion years old, 100,000 light years across, and moves through the universe at close to 1.3 million miles per hour. The cosmos, as we know it, from the perspective of the cosmic horizon as seen on Earth, expands for at least 13.7 billion years in any direction and is at least 13.7 billion years old. Some scientists believe it is much older and larger than we can measure. The cosmos has no center and no edge. The whole universe appears to be expanding at an incredible rate. Some physicists believe it is moving faster than the speed of light. So here we are on our homeworld, nested in a series of spins, racing through reality at breakneck speed. And although we're a mere 25,000 light years from the dense star field surrounding the galactic center, we are far, far away from the other 100 billion galaxies in the known universe. Marshall McLuhan wrote, "There are no passengers on Spaceship Earth. We are all crew." Gratitude to the beloved Cosm community for rising to the occasion as caretakers, stewards of the Earth, and being a stand for the peaceful coexistence of people with the web of life. Carl Sagan said, "The cosmos is within us. The nitrogen in our DNA, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our apple pies were made in the interiors of stars. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself." Sending blessings to all of you visionaries in every field of endeavor who are making a connection with the inner and outer cosmos by expressing it in your creative practice. I am deeply honored to be a member of Cosm, part of a visionary crew who are artfully navigating our way through life in the universe. Heartfelt thanks to all of you out there who have chosen to stand with Cosm as members. Together, we're on a cosmic journey of discovery and co-creation. I'll close with a quote from Professor Stephen Hawking. "Remember to look up at the stars and then down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious, and however difficult life may seem, there is always something that you can do and succeed at." Happy full moon, everyone.
Thank you, Delvin, for always bringing such profound wisdom drops to our ceremony performances. That was so cool to hear about, cosmolocation, zooming out a little bit.
Oh, amazing.
Really.
Delvin is such a dear.
It helps us to embrace our cosmic identity because we are part of the cosmic creation.
Yeah, and here we are now. All right. Well, next up we have the Main Squeeze with a cover of the classic Beatles song "With a Little Help from My Friends."
What do I do when
Thank you to the main squeeze and everyone else who is a part of that video. That gets me every time. It was such a beautiful, expression of the creative spirit of the pandemic,
right.
like collaborating over the digital technology that we've all been kind of forced to move on to.
The isolation, the togetherness, the more love, the incredible amount of talent that's out there, and the ability to do this. It just really, it just touches so deeply. I love that. I could watch it many times.
Yeah.
So it's uplifting.
It feels like a love letter from the collective,
It does.
Yeah, you can learn more about the main squeeze in the description to this video. Please check out their YouTube channel. They put some amazing music videos up on there.
Yeah.
And next up, we have our very own Allyson Grey with this month's Parsha.
Thank you, Tyler. Welcome again to the Learning Torah. Contained here are the 5 books of Moses, the central teaching in my tradition, Judaism. This Learning Torah is printed on a paper scroll. Every synagogue in the world over must own a hand-scribed Torah, printed letter by letter on lambskin parchment. The Torah is the most highly revered object in the temple. Originally written between the 6th and 5th centuries BC, the 5 books are also called the Old Testament by non-Jews. Wisdom contained in the 5 books is thought by Christians and Muslims to be seeds of their faith as well, since Abraham, the first Jew, is considered a seminal ancestor of both Jesus and Muhammad. prophets who were born 500 years apart, over 1,000 years later. The Torah story begins with the 7 days of creation and ends with the death of the prophet Moses, who led over 670,000 men, their families, animals, and whatever they could carry with them to the opposite banks of the Red Sea, refugees escaping 400 years of slavery. The Torah recounts their story and a philosophy of living that unified the 12 Jewish tribes from the 12 sons of Jacob, the grandson of Abraham. Moses and tribal leaders created a new nation, the first recorded government of the people. The stories and laws reflected an ancient way of thinking that fills the devoted with ethical questions to wrestle every week. Strangers in a desert land at the base of Mount Sinai 3,500 years ago, some of their problems were very dissimilar to problems we know today and often handled quite differently with solutions that we may not support. Our minds have changed, but not about everything. Listening for the resonance and dissonance is the teaching of the Torah. The Hebrew word Israel means God wrestler. The Torah story is divided into 54 portions, or parsha, each one for a week of the lunar Hebrew calendar year. The international parsha discussion this week is called Ki Taitzai, found in Deuteronomy, the last of the 5 books, as we approach the death of Moses. Ki Taitzai translates, when you go, the first 3 words in this parsha. In the entire 5 books, there are 613 commandments, or laws, including the familiar 10 commandments. This week's parsha gets the record for the most commandments, or mitzvot, with 74 laws contained in Ki Taitzai. Laws in this parsha govern civil and domestic life, covering everything under the sun, a hot desert sun, as the wandering Israelites became a people worthy to enter the promised land. Reading the 74 laws, we notice our active judgment mind, accepting one law, rejecting another, with partial agreement on some. This parsha literally begins with the words, when you go out to war against your enemies. So conflict was expected. Laws about ethical conduct following war head this list of policies. In brief, compassion was the law, with deference given to the loss felt by a captive. Inheritance rights of the firstborn were quite different 3,500 years ago, but the ethics of inheritance continues to concern people even today. Punishment for the wayward and rebellious son is covered. The takeaway in this law indicates that if you didn't want your child stoned to death, stop complaining about him to others. Metaphorically, still a good point. Laws about burial and dignity of the dead, considered health and safety, were addressed very differently in the desert 3,500 years ago. Returning a lost object, rooftop safety, giving charity to the poor, helping a person or an animal in need, all of these are still present concerns. There are judicial procedures and penalties for adultery, for the rape or seduction of an unmarried girl, and for a husband who falsely accuses his wife of infidelity. There are commandments about preventing the suffering of animals who worked alongside of the people. On Sabbath, working animals must be allowed to rest. If a donkey is struggling under a heavy load, go help them. You're even obligated to do this for your enemy's animals. Keep arguments between people and don't drag nature or animals into a battle. In other words, do not intentionally, with malice, destroy the nature or animals of your enemy. Plow a field with animals of similar strength and size. Don't pair a big ox and a small donkey, because the weaker one will suffer. Don't muzzle the ox helping you to plow and thresh the grain. The ox must be allowed to snack while working, as must all human workers. This ancient set of rules allows the use of animals that benefit humans, but draws the line at abuse. Consider where you draw that line today, in your life, in your home, in this land, in science. One enigmatic law tells the devoted, you will fare well and have a long life if you encounter a bird's nest with a mother on her chicks or eggs, and you let the mother go, and you shoo her away before taking her eggs or chicks. Well, imagine this even happening ever. I mean, rare and unlikely, but then what does it mean? This law is interpreted as a stand for compassion and the endurance of a species. To take the mother bird and the babies would be like picking ripe fruit and then chopping down the fruit tree. Well, we do this when we overfish the oceans or ruthlessly cull more than any resource faster than the natural world, the tree of life, can renew and replenish. Abraham Lincoln said, I care not for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. And I'll end with this 1854 quote by Chief Seattle. Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, for this month's Parsha. Next up, Alex and Allison will offer the blessings and declarations.
Well, thank you to everyone who is out there on the front lines helping society to function during the pandemic. God bless you. Thank you. May you and your families be protected during this time. There's a lot of people suffering in the world tonight, so please join us in a reflection for healing. You can go inside and just breathe in, and as you look in your heart center, just see a glowing light there. And as you breathe in, it grows brighter and brighter. This pure love and light that's in your center starts to send out healing waves through the collective earth body, all of the bodies who need healing on earth. We send this loving, healing light. And into this healing energy field, you can call anyone's name that you feel might need healing at this time. Thank you.
Another thing that we always do at the full moon is to remember the spirits that have passed, our ancestors and loved ones that are with us no more on this earth. And we take a moment to go inside and call them into our presence in the space and show our love and respect and honor them by calling out their name, if you like. May their memories be a blessing. Well, over the last month, we've collected over 100 blessings and declarations from people as far away as Australia, New Zealand, California, and all over who've sent in blessings and declarations. And we've selected a few representative ones. So Cece in Napa sends a declaration. Creativity is life.
And Juhi in India shares a blessing to all who are trying to cope and not give up. These times are difficult, but soon this too shall pass.
Garrett in Hawaii sends a declaration. I will free myself of all worldly attachments and love more openly and freely. I will be a vessel for the creative spirit to flow through, so I can create art that reflects my soul and this beautiful world we live in.
Ambrosia from California sends a blessing, sending light to anyone living in fear and helping others remember their divinity in order to move into higher consciousness.
And Mackenzie from Alabama sends a declaration. Be bold and fearless to speak your truth.
And Zoran from Australia says, bless this immunity.
Indeed. Well, thank you to everyone who sent in blessings and declarations in the past month. And you can send them also by going to our website, cosm.org. You can send a blessing or declaration in and have it contributed, sacrificed to the holy fire that we have right behind us. Alex is going to put the scroll right in the fire with a blessing to send all these declarations and blessings up to heaven. There you go.
All right. Well, may these blessings and declarations all come to pass.
And may all your blessings and declarations be realized. See how you make it through this month on those intentions that you set. Well, now we're going to turn the program over to Alexa Spatty, who's going to offer future news.
What's happening, Cosm fam? Congratulations! You have made it to see another day. Rock on! Give yourself a hug. Am I the only one feeling completely elated after this month's performances and wisdom drops? Hallelujah! Am I right, ladies? If you have a creative offering that you'd like to share, visit cosm.org/perform for a chance to be featured at our next virtual full moon broadcast. In building news, Entheon continues to propel forward. The sacred mirrors and other iconic works by Alex and Allison have been moved from storage, and installation has begun in the Sacred Mirrors room. Yes, you heard that correctly. Installation has begun. And guess what? There's more. Inside Entheon, the granite and marble inlaid floor for the vestibule has been delivered and installed. Allyson Grey's secret writing floor, made in collaboration with Cerebral Concepts, has also been installed. Oh yeah, and the angel gates that used to live in the meadow, created some years ago in Bali, well, they were mounted to complete the enclosure of Entheon's outdoor patio. Miracles, my friends. There's still a ways to go, but this has all been made possible thanks to the community. Humble bows. Consider sharing this video with someone who is searching for hope and delight. Maybe hit the thumbs up button below. All broadcasts and podcasts are available on Cosm's YouTube channel and cosm.org. Stay tuned for future offerings and contribute if you can. Big hugs and creative blessings. May your September be abundant. 'Tis the harvest moon, after all. And now, Alex and Allison will read the benediction, Dedication to Love. Peace out, everybody. Ow, ow!
Dedication to love. From the core of our hearts, we dedicate ourselves to the complete and full expression of love in all our activities and in all our relationships.
Love is the soul's medicine, a refuge in our hearts, protecting us from utter despair. Finding compassion in the eyes of the beloved and the stranger gives us the courage to endure.
May love sensitize us with care and wisdom. May love help heal the sickness and wounds of life. May love enable us to forgive and accept ourselves.
May love enable us to forgive and accept each other. May love help us overcome our cruelty and bitterness, our greed and jealousy, our ignorance and delusion.
May love rule our hearts and minds, directing us to reach out, doing our best to benefit others, to heal suffering, to give gifts, to create beauty in the infinite network that is our world.
A heart of loving kindness pours creative grace into the world. To alleviate pain and mend the heart net, to the healing art of love, we dedicate ourselves.
And may any merit generated by our gathering here tonight be offered to the benefit and liberation of all beings. Happy full moon,
Happy full
everyone.
moon, everyone.